It's been 2 years now, and I sense we're getting a little bit serious. But before we get too deep in the seams, I feel like we need to talk about expectations. This is not a red flag. It's a prenuptial agreement of sorts. Because if this relationship doesn't work out, I don't want you saying you didn't know. Now, the following information is not required. It won't improve your sewing in any way, but I feel like I should tell you anyway. Clause 1.1, measurement and trust. I measure, trace, measure, 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 and measure some more, and then I cut. Nothing fits me right out of the envelope, but if it did, I wouldn't know because everything gets adjusted. Clause 1.2, time and expectations. Every single time I say, this is going to be a quick sew, it turns around and bites me in the behind. My sewing machine will humble me every single time. Deadlines give me hives. I much prefer to work off sheer vibes. Clause 1.3, fabric assets. I own fabrics both for previous versions and future versions of myself. Some of these will never ever get sewn. How can I be so sure? I bought this fabric on a trip to Santo Domingo in 2019. It's still here, still unsewn. I mean, who even was I? Fabrics may be purchased without a clear plan. Who am I kidding? They're never purchased with any plan. Because I learned a long time ago, fabric shopping and sewing are two different hobbies, and I major in both. Clause 1.4, construction and emotion. I'm known for starting a project, getting really excited, and then quitting halfway through. That explains my love affair with my work in projects pile, but no judgment. Pins, they're like my best friends. And the best part, they don't tell you when you're doing something wrong. Clause 1.5, instructions versus reality. I completely ignore written instructions. I will quicker Google an issue before reading said instructions. And honestly, I trust the fit more than the writing. This behavior will continue, so don't try to change me. If you're still here, you've already initialed. Clause 2.1, filming and editing. I film my videos in pieces, many clips more than once. I am known to run out of storage space and held entire conversation with dead mics. I'm seeking to improve the latter. No promises though. Clause 2.1, channel vibes and consent. This channel includes trials, errors, wasted fabrics, F-ups, minor chaos or major chaos. It really just depends on whether you're a glass half full or glass half empty type of person. My body is never, ever the problem. No matter how sloped my shoulders are or how big my belly gets, it's always the pattern. By continuing to watch, you agree to these terms and conditions, but drop your signature in the comments just so I can be sure. If that works for you, then welcome to Unsocial. If not, I understand. Sewing is personal, and it should be. So if it doesn't feel right, you probably should exit here. Okay, now that the expectations are clear, here's what I'm actually trying to achieve here. My first mission is probably a little delulu, but I feel like every single person needs to learn how to sew. The insight sewing has given me into a body that I have lived in for almost 4 decades is remarkable. And everyone should experience it, honestly. Now, I started teaching myself how to sew back in 2018 after a mere suggestion by a friend that I might be good at it. Truth is, sewing is in my bloodline, as both of my grandmothers were seamstresses, but I had zero interest then and sort of bought into the narrative that only old folks sew. Joke's on me. I really, really wish I had learned much earlier in life. I don't know why I did not take full advantage of the seamstresses in my family. Now, early on in my sewing journey, I discovered that sewing and fitting are two different, separate and distinct missions. For me, they're kind of like conjoined twins. They go hand in hand, and that is how I have been approaching my sewing and fitting journey. Remember, everything gets an adjustment. Refer back to clause 1.1. So who is this channel really for then? This channel is for people who actually want their clothes to fit the bodies that they have, not the bodies that they want to have or had or think they have, but their actual bodies in the now. For people who are okay with unfinished objects, because that rack has so many whips. Oh, it's embarrassing. People who don't subscribe to perfection culture and who are okay watching me on screen in house clothes, sans makeup. You're getting the dressed up version today, but truthfully, this is the exception to the rule. And finally, this channel is for people who are all about good vibes. We don't want any negative Nancys around here, okay? No, I told you I've been here for 2 years, and that doesn't even seem real. I just upped and started this channel on a whim, and if you haven't picked it up by now, your girl is kind of spontaneous, at least so far as my sewing life has been concerned. I find it to be hilarious, honestly, given that my day job is all about timing, structure, and very rigid rules. And I guess sewing is my get out of jail free card. If you know, you know. Initially, I was churning out videos like a hamster popping out babies, and I burnt out really, really quickly. And I have learned over the last 2 years to slow down and take it easy. So the goal now is to bring you 2 videos a week, and honestly, sometimes not even that. It really just depends on what's going on in my real life. So beware. Aside from actual construction techniques that I have learned through tons and tons of trial and error and effed up fabric, I have also found out what my best colors are. Can you see my color chart on my board? And I have also started embracing my body type, rectangular in all its glory. So what's coming in 2026? Honestly, just more of me, just more of this, haphazard videos sharing my love and enthusiasm for sewing and fitting. No, my body is constantly changing. When I started sewing 8 years ago, I was at least 10 pounds lighter and a couple inches thinner. But now your girl has stacked some weight and some inches, and I'm constantly learning to make adjustments to fit my body as it changes. I am working with my body. My body is clearly not working with me. Since fitting really is an important and integral part of this journey, I am going to keep bringing you fitting videos here on the channel, showing you how I fit my body and hopefully encouraging you to learn how to fit your body as well. I also want to teach some in-person sewing classes. But what does in-person have to do with you? Now, back in November 2025, I was on a mission to introduce the amazing craft that is sewing to my local community. It started off with some girls, they were some brownies, on a 1-day Black Sewing Network International Sewing Day of Service event, and I'm going to keep that running for 2026. I'm going to be hosting some sewing socials, fingers crossed all goes well, and I will be teaching predominantly children how to sew, but I've sprinkled in a couple of classes for adults because of their requests. And I want to be able to share some of that footage with you guys here on the channel. Now, furthermore, a couple of you did invest in my fundraiser where I was raising funds to help with this initiative. And so I kind of feel like you're invested now. So I got to bring you the proof here on the channel that I'm doing what I said I would do. I also kind of want to sew with a little bit more intentionality this year, but not too much because this is still my creative outlet and your girl really just needs space to breathe and to grow. This channel is still learning, still growing, and quite frankly embraces the narrative that it is a man's prerogative to change his mind. Now, substitute man for whomever, and if you're good with that, I think we're going to get along. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for staying. I really appreciate you being here. If you want to, drop me a comment down below and let me know how long you have been sewing and what fitting issue are you tired of battling with. And yep, I actually read the comments, every single one, because this channel works better as a conversation, don't you think? Okay, enough talking. Time to go make something that actually fits.